Musicians Viewpoint. This podcast is by and for local musicians in all localities. I'm your host, Kevin Ronco.
Hey, welcome to Musicians Viewpoints. Once again, my name's Kevin Ronco, and today we have a great guest, my friend Ed Propst. He's known for not only being a great teacher, great human being, but also a great musician. And really pleased to have him on, so I'm not going to do a whole lot of talking about too much. Just mention real quick for dates I have coming up, live dates I have on the 19th of this month. I'll be at the Willamette Valley Smokehouse in Salem again with Sweet Sam Band. And then on June 22nd, I believe it is, be at the Salem Farmers Market with the Gusto Brothers. So busy summer for me coming up. And Ed's playing his thing. Once upon a time, Ed and I were in a group a long time ago. And, who knows, maybe we'll play again together someday. But we do have, at the end of this interview, which went really well last week, a week ago today, Ed agreed to send some music of what he's currently doing with the band, and this one's called L&S Pause. So we'll get to hear that at the very end of the podcast. So without delay, I'm going to get right into it. We're going to play the interview with Ed Propst, and I talking a little bit about Musicians Viewpoints. Here we go.
Hey!
I'm clicking OK on the consent to record.
Decent.
Yeah.
Hello, folks. This is Musicians Viewpoints, and today I got a good friend of mine, Ed Propst, here. I'm going to talk music, drink a little coffee, enjoy the getting woken up this morning. Not woke, but woken up. Maybe woke. I don't know.
Maybe woke. A little woke.
Little woke, not too much. Don't want to offend anybody. Anyway. And then again, who cares? So how you been, Ed?
Oh, good. I'm a spring break teacher, you know. It's nice. I like literally rolled out of bed like 10 minutes ago. It's kind of awesome.
Cool. Yeah. Nice to have some little time to sleep in.
Oh yeah. Like a little week of adequate sleep before the rush to the end of the school year.
Cool. How's teaching going?
Me knowing when this podcast airs is gonna affect that answer.
Yeah, probably.
When is
few
this
days.
podcast gonna air, you think?
Within a week. Maybe even later today. I don't know. Depends on.
Okay. After April 18th, I'd have like a slightly different answer, and I'll tell you the reason off the record, off the recording. But things are going great at work, man.
Cool.
My second year of being full-time just at the high school instead of at the high school and the middle school as a, budget-saving human for the school district. I'm doing a lot less like pivoting during the day because going from a 18-year-old kid with senioritis in my zero period jazz band and turning around and dealing with an 11-year-old who's having a completely different set of emotional meltdowns in the hour is it's nice. It's not disorienting. And when I was middle school and high school, that was a everyday disorientation because I did that middle school and high school thing for 15 years. And
Wow.
It was one of those things where I got used to it, but it was never easy.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's a hard age.
Yeah. But being able to maintain like just 14 through 18-year-old folks throughout the day it seems like things are going a lot smoother, man. It's allowed me to settle in and really when I worked two schools, it was like I was part of two teams and like a member of neither. And
Oh, yeah,
I feel
yeah.
like I'm part of Team Central High School a lot more than I ever used to be. Um, all the staff know me in the hallway instead of just like the staff that had been there more than 10 years,
Wow.
Yeah. That's how the day job's doing.
Cool.
Yeah.
And what do you love most about teaching?
Um, man, I really love seeing kids progress. Like going from a kid who can't say improvise in jazz band at the beginning of the school year to somebody who's arguing with somebody else over who gets the solo at the end of the school year. That progress is cool. Seeing kids who kind of anchor in to a lot of the same reasons why I took band in high school.
Hmm.
It being like, I'm hanging out with like-minded folks for a goal beyond myself, and seeing kids get that like team environment where it's not a team environment where moms are yelling at you from the sideline, but
Yeah. Yep.
everybody's in there together. Yeah, that's probably the most rewarding chunk.
Cool. Yeah. I seem to remember that was part of the appeal of getting into music was not being sports and not.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I was a huge sports kid growing
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
There was eventually a point where it was like I could quit playing hockey and not feel like a jerk.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Never
Hockey.
mind, like you'll see me wearing hockey jerseys like often, and I'm obsessed with hockey.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I remember my parents being okay with me not playing football. And I was like, okay, then I'm not doing football. Well, I'm going to be the band person. So
Yep.
I hear you. Now, on to a different subject matter. Maybe we'll come back to teaching, possibly.
Yeah, sure.
Um, what's the biggest audience you've ever played for?
Ooh, man. Okay, so I played a few big things. I'd say in the last decade, it would probably be when I landed that gig with NoFX, and
Oh, yeah, yeah.
yeah, I saw this ad on the Portland musicians page of like, hey, I'm Baz. I'm putting together an orchestra to play along with NoFX for the Decline, and like I lit up and immediately emailed the guy and was like, what do I do? And he's like, here's some sheet music, send me a recording of you playing it. And he sent me both trombone parts for his arrangement of the orchestra playing the Decline along with NoFX. And I'm like, this is a song I've been listening to literally since it came out. uh, it was formative. It's one of those things where the lyrics are more true today than when it was written like 23 years ago. And I immediately hit up a former student who teaches recording at Western Oregon University. Went to his studio and laid down both trombone tracks because he didn't tell me whether he wanted first or second trombone, and emailed that over to the guy running it, and he got back to me immediately. He's like, "Yeah, I want you on the gig," and it was a crazy experience because I landed the gig and it was originally going to be like $200 to play one song with NoFX, and I'm like, that's cool. That's a band I've liked since I was like 19 years old.
Wow.
That meant a lot to me. I would do that for like free. Here, just a sec. My dog is acting up.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah. He's got a little bit of an attitude. He can't stand it when something else is getting attention. I think he's decided you are getting too much attention.
Oh, okay. He's got to learn
um,
from me, man. You gotta give other people the spotlight. That's what I'm
yeah,
doing.
yeah. Anyway, so like I landed that gig through that emailed audition, and I show up at the first rehearsal and it's just wins, and I finish it, and this is where I learned a couple things. One, I this was a really interesting cross section of the classical and non-classical world in Portland, because like there was like legit orchestral players, and then there was punk rockers who knew how to play like bassoon, you know.
Oh,
And like the guy sitting next to me on trombone was a good guy, super nice guy, but you know, I get done with rehearsal and Baz comes up to me, and this is where the second thing I learned was that Baz is French.
okay.
So like I wanted to chill and talk to him because this is a guy who knows no effects, and those guys are my heroes.
Right.
And I'm like, hey man, I thought that was a pretty good rehearsal. He's like, yes, but your colleague, he is shit. I could play trombone better than him. And I'm like, oh shit.
Wow.
Okay. How can I help you with that? And he's like, I'm going to give you all of his difficult parts. I'm like, okay. And he knows I played both trombone parts for the audition. So I'm like, okay, I already know those parts. I know this song super well. So I show up to rehearsal the next day, and my part doubled in size. And I had all the melodic content from the second trombone put into the first trombone part. I'm like, okay. And you know, you know, got through the second rehearsal and checked in with him at the end, and Baz started, you know, ranting in his outrageous accent about some French horn player that wasn't pulling his weight. And that was second of 3 rehearsals we were going to have.
Oh
like,
my goodness.
okay, looks like when I get home tonight, I'm gonna practice French horn parts on my trombone until I go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And mind you, like I'm driving up from like I was living in Albany at the time and rehearsing in Portland. And I'm like driving like, and this is like the rehearsals start at the end of rush hour in Portland. So it's like taking me 2 hours to get from Albany to Portland. And this is a statement to how NoFX is as a music business entity. They had rented out the Hawthorne Theater in its entirety for like Wednesday and Thursday night. And, you know, Hawthorne is where bands that are touring come through and play. And it's like a,
Right.
you know, like a 300-400 seat or a 300-400 capacity kind of place. So I'm already impressed by a lot of things. Saturday, because this is like sorry, it was like a Thursday and a Friday rehearsal, and Saturday was like our last rehearsal, and then the performance was Saturday night at the Punk and Drublic Festival at Portland Meadows. Saturday morning we finally had our first rehearsal with NoFX, and it was crazy. Got to meet all the guys that I'd been listening to for decades. And Baz got upset at some other wind player. So, but every rehearsal, my part grew by at least 2 pages, including like the rehearsal between dress rehearsal with the band and showtime that night. And I made it happen. I thought I was going to get $200. I took home $500. And I thought I was playing 3 pages of music, and I played 7 pages of music all in one song. And
Wow.
I think 8,000 people were at that thing. I got to play my trombone with an orchestra and watch people mosh, and like
Wow.
play a song I'd been listening to over 20 years that I'd always fantasized about playing on. It was great.
Huh.
So that's probably the biggest non-classical crowd. I'd played however many people go to Christmas Fest at St. Olaf was probably my other high water marks, and that was like, I don't know, 5,000-6,000 people at those. That's like a Minnesota staple, though. St. Olaf is the college I went to, and we do a Christmas program with an orchestra and all 5 of the top choirs there, and you know, known people in the choral community were the guys that were like running the festival. So yeah, people came all over the Midwest and all over the country to go see those shows. So those would probably be the other big ones I played. The rest have all been like, I don't know. I think there was a Funk in the Forest where there was like 5,000 people at it.
Wow.
Maybe usually that festival was like 3. That was like a year where we had like combination of like good weather and good bands, and people came out. Yeah.
Decent. That all sounds like a blast, man.
Oh, total blast. I'm a lucky guy.
Yeah. Now pivot to what's the smallest audience you think you've ever played for?
Anytime I play a jazz gig and I'm at some vineyard and I'm tucked back in the corner with like two other jazz musicians, and there's like 5 or 6 people drinking wine and ignoring us and talking.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
It sounds like you've been there too, huh?
Yeah. Too much of that
Yeah.
probably for me, but actually,
Yeah.
I don't like crowds necessarily, so it's okay. But yeah.
Yeah.
But
I like
I've had my big
crowds.
moments too.
I like crowds on stage, and then like as soon as the stage is over and I'm trying to leave, it's like, okay, I don't like crowds anymore.
That's the hardest part, is when you've had a really good gig, and but no one will let you actually pack up and go home. Because
Yeah, I mean,
they're all excited for you. But yeah.
yeah. I mean, that's mostly really fun. Sometimes I get a
Yeah.
little drained when it's like a bunch of drunk people and I'm like sober and I'm like, okay, I'm glad you like that. Hey, don't touch
Yeah.
that. That's expensive.
Uh,
Other than, you know,
mhm.
okay.
I get so tired of drunk people, more than one year. I just, it's fun, but when you're playing 4 hour, gig, and people are totally trashed by the end of it.
Uh,
Yeah. And it's week after week. It's like, oh God.
like New Year's Eve this year, I ended up with getting a bigger trombone repair bill than I got paid for my New Year's Eve gig
Oh
because the
man.
drunk dude plowed into my mic stand, and the mic stand plowed into my trombone, and my trombone plowed into my face. It's like getting punched in the teeth in the middle of
Oh
the.
man. I'm sorry to hear that.
Nah, it's okay. The trombone was fine. It was able to get fixed, and I kept myself from beating up some drunk dude. So I think it's a win all around.
Okay. I hear you. That's why we have to, as musicians, watch how many beers have I actually had. They're free, but I also, never know what's going to happen. um, and I know some years I've indulged a bit much in that direction, but anyway.
Yeah, I don't
That's
really
part of
drink
life.
anyway, so I don't have to worry about that too bad.
Cool. Yeah. No, just try to remember to be professional and stuff.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what's going on with you now, Ed? What's next in your music horizons?
Oh man. Let's see. Let me pull out my calendar. Don't mind my sound of my phone getting picked up.
Not at all.
I've got April 20. I am playing with the reggae band Iron Prophecy at a place in Portland. I just wrote Iron Prophecy on my calendar, and I figured I'll get the details later.
Yeah.
I think it's the Albert Street Pub or something like that. But it's going to be a reggae party.
Oh, cool.
And then got a DTW date with no details written up. So there's a few DTW things coming up. Then it's just like May gets a little thin, and then June rolls around, and I'll be doing summer pep band with the Central High School band, and we'll play at the 4th of July parade. And then
Cool.
from then on, I've got a few sprinkled Iron Prophecy gigs, and DTW pretty much July through August every weekend, 3 or 4 times. And DTW stays busy in the summers, man. Yeah, it'll be like every weekend. And the thing we're starting to get booked for more and more is street band stuff. So we'll be doing that New Orleans second line thing all over the Willamette Valley.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow, sounds like you're hopping.
Yeah, it'll be a busy one.
Cool.
If anybody listening wants specific dates, I suggest finding DTW and Iron Prophecy on the socials and just kind of plugging in there. Iron Prophecy is a relatively new reggae band started by a bunch of pros in the area.
Cool.
Renee from Rising Buffalo Tribe on guitar and vocals. We got Angelica and Eric on drums and keys and vocals. And they're they were pros from the Colorado area that had settled out around here.
Okay.
Oh yeah, in July I'm going to Colorado to play some reggae with those cats.
Oh, decent.
Yeah, it should be a blast. We went out last fall and it was gorgeous. Got out
Huh.
to Garden
Yeah.
got out to a bunch of played a little disc golf course. Ate at the Denver Biscuit Company a bunch of times. It's good.
Oh, okay.
So we're looking forward to that.
Love Denver.
Yeah, dig. Crazy town, but it's a good one.
Yeah. Yeah. Fun to hang out in.
Yeah, there's a lot of non-locals getting super hammered because they're at the altitude. And
Yeah. All right. The Mile High. Yeah. Mile High City.
Yeah.
Let's see. So Ed, why trombone? What's the appeal there?
Oh man. This might be another slightly long story. You cool with that?
Okay. I picked all the good questions today.
You did. So I'm the youngest of 5 boys, and my name's Edwin. I go by Ed. You know, this tradition comes from my mom's side, the Joesting side. My dad's side's the Propst side. But my mom's brother is the youngest boy in her family of 4 kids, and he's named Edwin. And my grandfather, my mom and my uncle's father, was Edwin, and he was the youngest of 11 kids. So grandpa played trombone and Uncle Ed played trombone. And so I didn't know it, but I was genetically predisposed to play trombone.
Oh, wow.
And, I never heard any of this when I was a kid until I was 8 or 9, and my family visited Minnesota where the rest of the family's hanging out, and we're staying at my Aunt Joan's house. And I'm still on Alaska time because I grew up in Alaska. And so I woke up well ahead of all of the family members in Minnesota, and the only other person in the house awake was my cousin Katie. And like me, cousin Katie's a natural smartass. But we're hanging out and talking, and I'm like, I'm bored. And cousin Katie's like, oh, I know what to do. And she goes up and she gets my cousin's trombone. And she's smarter about this than me. She's like, okay, we should go to the backyard so that we don't wake up the whole house in one spot. And I was like, okay. So she takes me out to the back garden, and I proceed to not just wake up the house, but the entire neighborhood. But I just I got the hang of the buzzing on the mouthpiece right away. And there's heads poking out of windows. And Mom came out and was like, what's going on out here? And cousin Katie just looked at her and goes, tradition. And that's how I settled on trombone. It was
Wow.
pretty much an immediate connection with the instrument.
That's really amazing. And you certainly have. You're definitely the best trombonist I've ever met. So
Oh, thanks, man. I really appreciate it.
And I even got to work with you some. So
Yeah, I did
too.
blast too. Every time we've gotten to jam, it's been a blast. I like your pockets.
Oh, cool. Appreciate that.
That big boom band stuff was really fun when we got to let loose and just jam out for a while.
Yeah, that was one day. Drewby looked at me and he said, "We just need to jam more," and that's when it really opened up. I thought.
Yeah,
yeah. But it didn't last as long as I hoped. But that's how these things go.
It's true, dude. I've been in Willamette Valley for closing in on 20 years now. If it's not 20 years now, it's pretty close.
Okay, a little longer than me.
Yeah, I've been in 20, 30 bands, something like that in that time. And a lot of them have been really, really cool bands. For the amount of people that live out here, the amount of amazing musicians that live out here seems higher than your regular amount of population,
Yeah.
It's always a surprising thing. I can always depend on being able to pop into anybody's show on any given night of the week and have my hair blown back by something cool,
That's
I got
awesome.
Yeah, I remember getting dragged to an 11 Eyes show in my first week in this town by somebody I met on the disc golf course. And I was like, oh, and it was like middle of the summer, no college kids around, and like they brought me to Squirrels where I'd never been to before, and like
Oh, right.
there's like Matt Calkins playing sax, there's like JD Monroe like playing auxiliary percussion and scratching records at the same time. And there's Tim Laughlin doing something just incredible on the trumpet and a wah-wah pedal, you know. It's just like mind-blowing. And I'm like, this is just a small town.
Yep.
How does
Yeah, I remember before I moved here from I'm an East Coaster originally. And a friend of mine in a band said, you should move to the West Coast. I mean, you should be part of that scene out there because it's so different out here. So,
yeah,
the New England music scene's a bit more uptight, I would say. Nothing wrong with it, but it's just different.
I've heard after you get established, the East Coast is pretty good for touring just since the big population centers are closer together. I've only done a few little tours out there, but I've always wanted to just go north to south or south to north.
I only did it like in a van with people, you know, like driving around.
Was that the punk rock era?
It was 90s, yeah. And that was definitely an influence, even though we were doing more like rockish, jazzy, bopish kind of stuff. But it was, it had that, you know, that's, also I did work with some of the more punky bands and some of that kind of stuff and reggae. And
I love reggae.
Yeah.
I really love reggae, man. Reggae is like a driving force in my life.
Yeah, that was one of probably the best years was playing when I played a reggae band for 1 year. So I just got so spacey. I mean, you know, I was totally spaced out by the end of that year, but in a good way.
Yeah. Before I moved to Oregon, I'd never played in a reggae band or like I'd been in funk bands that would have like one reggae song. And I was always like, yeah, we should do more like that. And nobody would listen to me. And then first band that I got into out here was the Badfish Band. They were like mostly reggae with a little funk. And then the obsession just deepened because that's where I got turned on to bands like Catch a Fire and Groundation and, you know, the great world of roots reggae that's happened post Bob Marley. Because I didn't get exposed to a whole lot of that in the Midwest. It was like we got Midwest is where I went to college. In Alaska, I was exposed to it beyond, like, I think Clinton Farron came through, and it was like, there's, you know, Clinton Farron and the Boogie Brown Band from Kingston, Jamaica, and they came to Anchorage and they played at the Lions Club. In like me and my best bud at the time, Adam Latuzak, and two random strangers showed up and they played for us four. And they played like an hour and a half late.
Oh, goodness.
That was my only reggae experience until getting to play it after my first round of grad school here.
Cool. Yeah, I actually heard one of the Marley grandkids, I think, on the radio or whatever it is. I have a free trial of Sirius XM, so I was hearing some of the new productions out there.
Man,
they're very talented, you know, like you're talking about music running in the family and stuff, you know. Anyway.
Yeah. These days I live to hear whatever Damian Marley puts out next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was one of the younger ones though. I can't remember their name, but
yeah, I haven't listened to much of the grandkids, but Ziggy came to Anchorage when I was a kid too, and I went to see him there.
Yeah.
Tomorrow
people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah.
Is it like Kaimani Marley or something?
No, I think that was Damien. I have the CD over there. I can't remember which one.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I have quite a reggae collection because of working with people that are really into it. And you get as serious about that kind of music as you do classical music or whatever you're playing. This, you know, that's what I find. It's like wow, these beats are really neat, and the grooves, and you can
What
kind of
what
get lost in.
what I love about reggae is like people that aren't into it but are musicians listen to it and they go, "Oh, that's so simple, that's so easy," and then when they get tasked to play it, they're like, "Wait."
No, it's not easy. I actually had a hard time in the beginning. That's why
Yeah,
I jumped into it. I was like, no, that's not how I was taught. There's something that groove there is it has a lilt that,
yeah,
and you can forget it after you get out of
completely
it too.
kind of pocket.
Yeah, exactly.
I experienced something similar. I got into a couple ska bands a couple years ago, and I've been a ska fan since like I was 12 or 13 years old. Somebody handed me
Yep.
a pickle tape. It was a tape. That's how long ago it was.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
I've got a bunch of those too. Yeah.
oh yeah, got like a suitcase full of the bastards. I can't get
Yeah.
rid of them.
I threw away a ton, but I kept some of the gems.
Yeah, but it's getting into that stuff for the first time playing, and like I got recruited. Like Los Malhablados is a Portland ska core band, a Latin ska core band that's still going strong. I had to leave them because they're paying punk rock wages, and I'm
Yeah.
living in the to drive 2 hours to rehearsal and then
In other words, there's no money.
oh, money through the project. But musically, it was
Yeah.
one of the most fun projects I was ever involved in.
Yep.
But I'm used to like 5 to 8 minute long funk and jam songs like DTW, like Iron Prophecy, like any of the other funk and jam bands I've been in, and they pack that same amount of music into like a minute and a half.
Hmm.
So my brain has to work harder and faster despite there being less notes to play,
Right.
and the notes are like heavier too. So I find myself playing like a half-hour set with those guys, and I'd be more chopped than I was after the end of a 3-hour DTW gig.
I believe it. Wow.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. There's a reason those bands only do like 45-minute to an hour sets. It's because it's like heavy.
yeah, when you're really in it, the gigs can get exhausting. I
Oh yeah,
definitely, I know that feeling. That's why I limit a lot of, I don't take everything comes my way, but it's just too
same.
much. It's a lot of work and
Yeah,
tiring. Yeah, but totally worth it.
I agree too.
Some things for me just don't work out. I auditioned for a group maybe 2 weeks ago, and I could tell. I think they were just sensing I wanted to go off and into a funk direction, and they were more traditional country. It just wasn't quite like I could do it, but
Wasn't quite.
yeah, yeah, it's hard
I
to
feel
unlearn things. That's the thing.
Yeah. No, I feel you on that front. Sometimes I'll like get hired for a one-off with a band, and it's sort of an audition. I go in and I work with like whatever sax or trumpet player they've already got going, and it matches really well. And then I'll have a similar gig like 2 weeks later, and I just won't mesh very well with the trumpet or sax player. It's all about, can you communicate? Are you feeling the same? You know, uh,
Yeah, yeah,
are the other musicians presenting you with things in a digestible fashion? Because like sometimes you work with a sax player and they turn away from the mic and they're like, "Hey man, let's try to play this," and they'll like
yeah,
rattle off an horn line and just nod at you and turn around and play it into the mic. And you're like, "Wait, what?"
yeah. I mean, a lot of times they're preconceived ideas that you're not privy on before you get there, and that can, for some reason, you're going in a little different direction, and that's okay. Just doesn't work out.
The guys that are easiest to play with are the ones that can turn around, play you like 6 notes, or you can play them like 6 notes, and we all get our brains together and turn that into some music with something simple going on.
Yeah, let's keep that going.
100%.
So my next question, I feel like we've already answered it, but
There.
so I'll skip that one.
What was that one?
Okay, what music do you most enjoy?
Oh man. Well, I enjoy it all really. Like it's probably easier for me to tell you music I don't enjoy. I don't enjoy atonal music. I don't enjoy 12
Oh,
tone.
okay.
Um, uh, uh, I find Spangalang jazz good in small doses, but I can't sit
Mhm.
there and play 4 hours. Other
Yeah.
than that, I love music. Gimme, gimme, gimme.
There you go. Yeah, I'm with you. I like pretty much everything. I even like the 12 tone stuff and the abstract stuff. I know a lot of people can't get, they think it's kind of a crock. So I get it.
Yeah, no, I totally understand. To me, it feels like music's like food, and like
Yeah.
it's like apples and oranges and cheese and bread, and like all these like you know digestible things. And 12 tone is like rocks and sticks and
Okay.
dirt, and I can't digest it as well.
Makes sense. I guess I kind of think of John Cage. I wrote a paper on John Cage a
I
long
love
time
John.
ago.
Yeah,
And I love that. Okay. Uh
yeah. It's not even like all atonal music because
no, yeah.
like John Cage. I played his trombone concerto, man. It's like
Oh,
not even like regular notation. It's like colored lines. And like you're supposed to take your trombone part and play it on pieces of your trombone and reassemble your trombone through the whole process.
oh, yeah, now that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Campaign for Sounds.
Oh yeah. I don't know that piece.
That's no, just a quote for. I don't think it was a title, but
Oh, okay.
yeah. Um, that's I. I'll stop talking about that paper I wrote 30 years ago. Anyway. um, okay, next question. How can we improve local music? Do you think there's something we could do to make it
uh,
better? Even better. Even better.
Even better is well, I'd like to couch it with that because, dude, we're so blessed. We're
Right.
so
Yeah. And I
I
feel like the question sets it up for us like a negative kind of connotation,
yeah,
and I don't mean to do that. So
100%. I think more places to play would be nice to have around. Um, I think I don't want to throw any particular club owners under the bus, so I won't name specific places. But it'd be nice if the venue serves alcohol, that they would have security. So
oh, okay. Okay, that's a good one.
yeah,
You're the
because
first person who's answered this question that way. That's
well,
a good
yeah,
one.
and
Yeah.
I'm also like still mentally processing like having to spend more on trombone repair than I actually got from a gig for a recent gig.
Yeah,
So
that would.
yeah,
Well,
like I
that.
like
Yeah.
drunk people aren't super fun to talk to after the show, but they're super fun to play music for,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't want to ever take that away. Um, I guess the only other thing I would say is it'd be nice if they'd shell out more money for bands at clubs to bring the pay rate up. Not just for like big groups like DTW where we're bringing like a dozen folks on stage and doing like theme concerts, but I'm talking about like let's pay the three kids at their first gig that are getting in front of an audience for the first time and learning about the craft. Let's
Yeah.
bring the expectation up for payment for live music.
Yeah.
Let's do away with exposure pay. Let's do away with
Yes.
people like deliberately thinking that music is a thing that they can skimp on because they can replace us with a like a Spotify account.
Yeah.
Live music is definitely a completely different animal than recorded music, and the energy that you get when you're playing music live and getting that energy back and forth from an audience does not compare to listening to something canned. And people want to pay us like we're the Spotify account.
Yeah. I feel like you're talking about something that's even larger than music here. But I feel
Yeah.
like musicians are one of the reasons I wanted to do this podcast is I feel like we're kind of at this bottom feeder gig economy kind of perspective, where we're kind of the first ones to see what's really happening in society. So,
Yeah,
you know,
like we played parties where they're like, you need to wear a suit and a tie, and I show up and I'm dressed in my nicest outfit, and I've got my tablet instead of a pile of sheet music, and I'm ready to go help a fancy party happen, and then I'm just kind of looked at like the help, and
yeah,
that just feels weird on a human level, because you know, I don't want there to be as much societal awkwardness and separation between the people that are helping put the party on and the people at the party.
good point. Yeah, no, I that reminds me of too many stories, but yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But I didn't want to make this podcast about me telling my stories. So
Yeah, fair. Sometime you want a free episode, you should have me let's do this and send me the questions and I'll ask them to you.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
We can do that sometime.
I'm 100% down, man.
Okay, so my final question.
Sure.
It's not worth any money, but anyway.
Yeah.
But how can music improve the world?
Okay, so there's something to be said about me teaching kids that are participating in music at school, and then they graduate high school and they go out, and a lot of them go to like Sasquatch Music Festival at the Gorge, and that's their first like live music experience.
Okay.
And then after they graduate, the summer will go on, they'll go to that festival or any of the other festivals in the area, and then like I'm old school on the socials. I only do like Facebook, and then all of a sudden I'll have like 5 Facebook messages from 5 different kids being like, "Oh man, I saw Stephen Marley this weekend out at the
Okay.
Bird, and I didn't know, man. You told me that live music was different, but I didn't know, man." And I think it's just got such a huge potential to like make strangers come together and sing and be part of something bigger than themselves. And the energy that you get from live music is, like I mentioned earlier, it's so big, and it's hard to describe to people who haven't experienced it.
Yep.
And one of my favorite things is noticing people who get that live music experience for the first time and how it changes them. And there was more ways I could offer that to my students, because that's a healthy change for the better for everybody who's had it.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. I've had a few experiences. Like I had an ukulele class last year, and Jake Shimabukuro came through town. So I took my whole ukulele class to him, and I watched kids get their faces melted for the first time. And it was great. More of that in the world, please. Because
yep.
Yeah. And like it wasn't just like, oh, we're a tighter knit ukulele class because we got to go see one of the best player in the world play. It was like they got to be part of a musical experience with however many people fit in the Elsinore Theater. What is that, like 700, 800 people in there?
Oh, Elsinore? That might be bigger. Yeah.
Yeah, it might be bigger. It's a big room.
Yeah, some friends of mine played there.
Oh, yeah?
Got me free tickets, so that was fun. They do this Fleetwood Mac thing that's just Taken by the Sky. Highly recommend that. Anyway.
I really want to take the video game show to the Elsinore. I just think that would be the right room for it.
Okay.
Yeah, someday. It's
a fun room. Yeah.
It's gorgeous. And I think of the people that I've seen there, not just Jake Shimabukuro, but like I saw the guys from Whose Line Is It Anyway do their thing there. The late great Ralphie May, I watched him do like 2.5, 3 hours of stand up where he just kept going and it just kept being funny. Yeah, the world is a sadder place without Ralphie May in it. I miss that guy.
Wow. Yeah. That would have been a great show.
Yeah, it was really funny. I there was tears coming out of my eyes multiple times.
Wow.
So hard. Yeah.
Laughter, very important.
Indeed. You ever notice that musicians usually got good jokes?
Yes.
Yeah, it's the timing, man. Everybody's like really good at timing musically. Like I noticed this at jazz camp a few years ago. I went and worked the Melbray Jazz Camp with some buddies from grad school in like summer of 2014. I think it was then, but everybody there was super hilarious. And like at the end of the week, I was like, what is this? And somebody's like, yeah, dude, we're all good at timing. Oh. Like, sure enough, if you go to a DTW rehearsal and just listen to our stuff between attempts at songs, a bunch of smartasses, I tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of the craziest people, musicians.
Oh yeah.
Good crazy. Good crazy.
Good crazy.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So that was all the questions I had.
All right.
Anything else we want to? Did you have anything? Just final thing you want to say to the 5 listeners we have out there? Maybe more.
Please continue to support live music. Don't just see the bands that I've mentioned that I play in. If you're in the Valley, go see like the Space Neighbors. Go see like Citizens of the Universe. Go see the Church Ladies. I mean, the Regretties.
Oh yeah.
I mean, go see the local bands. They're really freaking good out here, and just be a part of that local scene. You don't have to like go be buddies with all the bandmates or anything. Just go enjoy. Drink in what happens in the live music scene. It's the most fun I've ever had in my life, whether I'm in the audience dancing or whether I'm on the stage making trombone noises.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, on that, I think the only thing we could top it off is if you want to send me a tune, and we can play it at the end if you have something you want to share. Otherwise, it's a Boone Band something, but because I have that stuff. I'd rather have something of your newer stuff if you have anything.
I don't even remember what the Boone Band, what we sounded like. Did we record anything beyond live stuff?
We did a studio recording, which was actually pretty good. Yeah.
Oh, dude, play that. I haven't even heard that.
Okay. It's on Reverb Nation still. So.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Is John Boone even alive still?
I actually don't know. I think I would have heard about it if something had happened there.
Okay. I just knew he wasn't in the greatest of health. But yeah, all the best to him, all the best to Drewby, all the best to Ward.
Yeah, that was a fun time.
Yeah.
So we'll leave it down that memory lane. No, there was some good stuff. We recorded that little blue house in Corvallis that's sort of next to the car dealerships and the
in between the one ways.
Yeah, I don't know if they still do anything there, but there was a studio there.
All right, I got my dog me out there. He's probably crossed 4 legs. I should probably sign off. Well,
I have to go to my day job, so as well. So really nice talking with you, Ed.
Going back to bed, bro.
Going back to bed. Okay. Yep. Well, we'll have this up pretty soon. So
all right, dude. Thanks so much for having me on. Nothing but love for you and Kel, and let me know when you think.
Yeah, same to you. And it looks like your fiance.
Yeah. I got engaged a couple weeks back.
Cool. Congratulations on that too.
Thanks, man.
Okay. Love you, bud.
Love you too, man. Take care of yourself.
Yep. Take care.
Bye.
for along Mrs. Waters. There's a cat's eye moon looking down on all your daughters to watch them do their evil deeds in the dark, where they learn to run and hide from your snide remarks about all them wicked seeds tearing this country apart at the seams, and how you curl up and die if that was your immortality. They say my kids don't drink or smoke, lie or steal, go down on the boyfriend while he's behind the wheel of a car, going too far, far too fast to make the moment last. But everybody get up, save the time standing still. Somebody's gonna open fires, fire at will. Everybody get up, don't waste your time or drag your heels. If only you can learn to, yeah. It's time to pay close attention to the inhibitions used for protection, like a barbed wire fence. And it's a great defense, but you got better sense. So take the risk with right and wrong. You'll understand it in the long run. While they drink gin and tonics, I'll be smoking that chronic, loving life in a way I can, never doing harm to the fellow man. We'll just wait and see, but someday we'll be free. Are you listening to me? Cause if so, then let me see you come out and just do you right. Let me see you come out and just do you right. Well, everybody get up, this ain't the time standing still. Somebody's gonna open fires, fire at will. Everybody get up, don't waste your time, take your heels. If only you can learn to, yeah. You know we only open up ourselves in very special ways, concentrating mostly on technology for days. If you have compassion for the millions of mistakes, they're our sisters and our brothers, forgiveness is all that it takes. No cause for long, Mrs. Waters. There's a cat's eye moon looking down on all your daughters. You watch them do their evil deeds in the dark, where they learn to run and hide from your snide remarks about all them wicked seeds tearing this country apart at the seams, and how you curl up and die if that was your immortality. You say my kids don't drink or smoke, lie or steal, go down on the boyfriend while he's behind the wheel of a car, going too far and far too fast. Make the moment last. Oh, far, far, far too fast. Oh, too far to make it last. Well, everybody get up, don't waste time. Hey, somebody's gonna open fires, fire at will. Everybody get up, don't waste time and drag your heels. If only you can learn to. Everybody get up, this ain't the time standing still. Somebody's gonna open fires, fire at will. Everybody get up, don't waste your time. right, thank you, everybody.